Alright, for this dish of delicious Chinese beefy goodness, you will need some beef and preferably some steak. What I've got here is I've got a 21-day matured rump steak. It's 232 grams. You don't need an awful lot of meat for this dish, and this one will happily serve myself and my brother. And because it's steak, it's better if you leave it out to room temperature before you start to cook with it. And we'll get that chopped up in a minute. You'll need about 4 cloves of garlic. You'll need a zucchini squash, medium sized, a couple of sweet peppers. You'll need some Chinese 5 spice powder. I grind my own. If you haven't got any, there's a recipe for it below in the description. You'll need some toasted sesame seeds for this one. About one onion, which we'll chop up along with the rest of the vegetables. And you'll need some sugar. You'll also need some cornstarch, corn flour, which I have here, and an array of Chinese sauces. I'll take you through them. This one's Thai. This is a Thai oyster sauce, a Thai golden mountain soya seasoning sauce, another Thai mushroom soy sauce, which I really love, and a high quality Chinese everyday use light soy sauce. Alright, that's all the ingredients. The first thing we're going to have to do now is get them all chopped up. Alright, I've chopping the onion up into pieces around about this big. I cut them first in half and then put the knife through them a couple of times, and again. Now I'll get on and do the rest. Okay, it's good to leave that coarsely chopped like that, and you'll see why in a second. Right, and I'll just move that to one side, and then I need to cut my beef. Observe the way the grain is going on the beef and cut across it. And you want it in very fine strips like that. Just very fine work. Any sinewy bits, just cut them out. You don't need them in the dish. I've used a rump steak here, which is rather sinewy. In retrospect, I might have used another, maybe a sirloin or something. And again, just slice that across the grain in nice thin slices, look. Okay, so we've got our beef ready. I'm going to put that straight into a pot with half of my garlic. The next thing I want in there is a teaspoon, about a level teaspoon of your 5 spice powder. And you're going to want about 1, 2, 3 heaped teaspoons of cornstarch in there, corn flour, and get that mixing around. You use plenty of corn flour because you want to get a good surface coating on all the pieces of steak, like that. Another way to do it is stick it in a Ziploc bag and give it a good old shake. It'll have about the same desired effect as what I'm doing here. Alright, into your frying pan you want to get a fairly generous amount of oil. Looking at that, you want about 4 tablespoons of oil in total. But don't worry, you're not going to eat all that, you're going to pour the rest of it off after you've cooked. So you let that get up to heat, and then in goes the beef. Okay, once the oil's very hot, in goes your beef. Just all that in there. And then get that moving around. So far the only flavouring in the beef is the 5 spice powder and the garlic. Right, once you're happy that the beef is cooked through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour that all through a sieve now, so the beef will drain. Get that back on the heat just for a minute. Add just a little of the oil back to the pan. Not a lot, just a little. Into the pan goes your veggies. And the remainder of your garlic. And we stir to fry that. We still remember the corn flour mixture and the burnt bits are still on the bottom of that pan, so we do know they're there. Get a few turns on that, and then what we want to do is introduce a bit of water to it, and that will start it steaming, begin to deglaze the pan at the bottom, and then at this stage we add the soy sauce. So I want a couple of teaspoons of each of my soy sauces. I like to do that because it mixes up the flavourings a bit. And also a little splash of oyster sauce goes in there. You only need a couple of teaspoons of each of these, and that's plenty. And we keep that moving around in there for a minute. What I like to do at this stage now is put a lid on that and steam it off for a couple of minutes. So on goes the lid, and we give that just a couple of minutes to steam. Once it's steamed a little bit, you'll be able to lift up the glaze from the bottom of the pan. That's carrying all that lovely beef and 5 spice and garlicky flavours in there with it. And we don't want the vegetables to become mushy. We just want them to become cooked through. Alright. I'll put the lid back on there for another minute, and I'm going to mix up a little bit of cornstarch with water. So just a teaspoon of cornstarch mixed with some water. Mix it well in, and then drizzle that over the top and stir to mix. That's going to thicken up real fast, and at this stage watch how thick it fast it thickens up. Get my words mixed up. And you can always add more water at that stage. So once that's nice and starts to thicken up to a nice thick gravy, what we do is we now set that aside covered, and we don't want those veggies to overcook. Next thing I want to do is get on a pan on which I can, a saucepan on which I can fry the beef. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the bottom of that, and the oil you've been cooking in is perfectly good. And into that oil we drop a dessert spoonful of sugar, and we stir that to mix into the oil, and that will start to melt. When it starts to melt, that's when our beef goes back in. So as you see around the edges that's starting to melt, we need to mix it in. And you'll get that strong toffee smell. Now you want to do this before it goes completely black. Get that in there and stir to mix. At this stage we add a couple of dashes each of the soy sauce. And stir it round to totally coat everything up. So there you are. That's the beef done. And what I want to do now is onto that beef, I want to get some, I'll turn the heat off that now. I want to get some sesame seeds onto that to dress it up nicely. So here we go. A generous portion of toasted sesame seeds, and give it a stir. And we now set that aside until we serve it. So there we have it, stir-fried sesame beef with stir-fried vegetables. Let's have a go. Well, that's good. That's really good. The caramelization at the end, it really fixes up the beef beautifully, and the little nutty crunch you get from the sesame is just outstanding. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe, and be sure to click the bell icon to receive notification of all my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.